Mention the name Clive Palmer, and everything that comes to mind is big. Big money, big ideas, big opinions. One of Australia's richest men, he's also one of the most outspoken. But what he loves even more than a good stoush is a grand idea, and his latest is Titanic. Titanic 2, to be precise.
In the history of maritime transport, no other name garners as much respect and fascination as the Titanic, which left an indelible mark in the hearts of millions with its tragic fate. However, the idea of super luxurious and speedy ocean liners did not sink into the icy waters of the Atlantic alongside the doomed ship. The Titanic 2 project is poised to resurrect the iconic journey that captivated the world over a century ago. This modern-day replica is far from an exact copy, and it is going to be much better prepared for retracing the ill-fated voyage, minus the tragedy. Will this audacious endeavor set sail in 2024? So far, all we know is that the Titanic 2 is happening. Join us as we share construction updates for 2024. The Titanic is a name etched in history. It symbolizes both tragedy and grandeur. Sailing its maiden voyage in 1912, the iconic vessel had an ill-fated encounter with an iceberg which led to its sinking. This tragedy had profound consequences, reshaping maritime safety standards. Titanic 2, a project of grand ambition, seeks to pay homage to this historical legacy. The resurrection of the Titanic name evokes the memory of the past while offering a unique opportunity to revisit the grandeur of early 20th century oceanic travel. However, the vision behind creating Titanic 2 goes beyond mere replication. The idea is to blend history with modern luxury. By meticulously recreating the aesthetics and charm of the original Titanic, the visionaries aspire to offer passengers a journey through time, allowing them to experience the glamour of a bygone era without compromising on the safety and comfort standards of the present. The idea of recreating the opulence of the original Titanic ocean liner is nothing new. This fever dates back to 1997, when James Cameron's iconic film on the RMS Titanic first hit the cinema screens. Naturally, various attempts were made to recreate the iconic ship. Among these endeavors, South African businessman Cyril Goose embarked on a highly publicized project in 1998 to create a functioning replica with modifications for safety and economic viability. This South African venture proposed crucial alterations to the original Titanic design. These included opting for a welded hull instead of rivets, employing diesel-electric propulsion instead of steam engines, and incorporating a bulbous bow. Intending to construct the ship in Durban, Goose presented his £500 million proposal to Belfast City Council in June 2000. Seeking capital, Goose explored government grants and a stock market flotation starting in November 2000. After securing an agreement with a Monaco-based investment banking company, he claimed that construction would commence within 9 months. However, the project encountered its own set of hurdles, leading to alterations in its design and scope. Initially touted as the world's largest liner with a capacity for 2,600 passengers, the ship underwent significant changes, including proposals for a heliport, swimming pools, and discos. However, the constant burden of an ever-expanding design proved to be too much. The project faced challenges in securing necessary investments, resulting in its eventual abandonment in 2006. Maybe there is such a thing as being too ambitious. Fast forward to 2024 and the Titanic 2 project is all set to sail this year, allowing its patrons to indulge in the luxurious aesthetics of an era they've only known through the cinema screen, or vivid descriptions from those who saw it and lived to tell the tale. The Titanic 2 is the dream child of Clive Palmer, a former member of the Australian House of Representatives and a mineralogy billionaire who's no stranger to the media spotlight. This prospective passenger ocean liner is intended to replicate the original Olympic-class vessel. Palmer unveiled the ambitious project in April 2012, designating it as the flagship for his proposed cruise company, Blue Star Line, based in Brisbane, Australia. The Titanic 2, however, is going to be much grander and much more ambitious. It will boast a gross tonnage of 56,000, a notable increase from the original ship's 46,000 gross register tons measurement. This change may not seem like much when you first hear it. To put it into perspective, the term gross tonnage is a measure of a ship's overall enclosed volume, including all enclosed spaces within the hull. A difference of 10,000 GT reflects an expansion in various areas of the ship, such as additional cabins, recreational spaces, dining areas, and modern amenities. This increase will translate to an even more luxurious and comfortable experience for passengers, offering enhanced facilities and accommodations beyond what the original Titanic could provide. The numerical difference signifies not just a quantitative change, but also qualitative improvements and advancements in ship design, technology, and passenger amenities. Before we dive into the construction details and expectations of the current project, let's jog through the history of the iconic Leviathan that inspired this ocean liner project. The original Titanic was constructed by the White Star Line. This massive project commenced in 1909 with the purpose of creating an epitome of opulence and technological advancement in early 20th century maritime travel. As part of a trio alongside the Olympic and Britannic, the Titanic's origin lay in an ambitious vision for luxury and innovation. Amidst the construction, a now infamous quote, "Even God can't sink this ship," became associated with the story of the ship. These words would echo with irony for well over a century. This audacious proclamation was emblematic of the prevailing belief in the Titanic's invincibility. The impact of this quote on public perception was also profound. It fueled a false sense of security among passengers and the general public, creating an unwarranted confidence in the Titanic's impregnability. This overconfidence, combined with a series of unfortunate events, set the stage for one of the most tragic maritime disasters in history during the Titanic's maiden voyage in 1912. The maiden voyage commenced on April 10, 1912. The ship departed from Southampton amidst a lavish spectacle. Stopping at Cherbourg and Queenstown, the ship boarded more passengers, and with 2,240 souls on board, set course across the Atlantic to New York City. The vessel's interior, laden with luxury, masked the underlying construction flaws and an inadequate number of lifeboats. As the Titanic charted its course, the atmosphere was one of ambition and speed. However, everything was to change in a matter of hours on the chilling night of April 14, 1912. This was when the Titanic, having ignored several warning signals shared by nearby vessels, collided with an iceberg in the North Atlantic under clear, cold conditions. The visibility, hindered by a dead, moonless night sky, did not help much. The ship's lookout, Frederick Fleet, did not have access to binoculars due to a mix-up in the distribution of the key equipment. Due to a misunderstanding or miscommunication, the locker containing the binoculars was locked, and the key was not available to open it. Fleet and his colleague Reginald Lee were thus left to rely solely on their naked eyes to spot potential hazards in the ship's path. Considering the ship's speed and the limited visibility conditions on that fateful night, the danger that lurked ahead, although invisible from afar, was all but unavoidable in the given circumstances. At precisely 11:40 p.m., the ship struck the iceberg, resulting in extensive structural damage, compromising multiple compartments of the colossal vessel. 25 minutes after the initial collision, by 12:05 a.m. on April 15th, distress signals were sent out as the crew realized the severity of the damage. Panic and confusion gripped everyone as they came to terms with the fact that the unsinkable Titanic was, indeed, sinking. The profound shock gave way to a frantic scramble for lifeboats, proving to everyone that the ship's design and safety measures were woefully inadequate. As the Titanic faced its imminent demise, the unfolding disaster brought forth harrowing challenges in evacuation. The shortage of lifeboats became glaringly apparent. The ship, touted as unsinkable, had been designed to meet outdated regulations that did not anticipate the unprecedented scale of such a disaster. Decision-making flaws by the ship's owners and operators were evident as they prioritized aesthetics and deck space over adhering to contemporary safety requirements. Moreover, the lack of preparedness became glaringly evident during the disaster. Passengers and crew alike were ill-prepared for the unfolding crisis due to a lack of proper training. Communication failures further exacerbated the situation, hindering the effective execution of emergency procedures. Lifeboat loading started at 12:25 a.m. according to the Women and Children First protocol, but the evacuation process was hindered by confusion and a lack of coordination. At 12:45 a.m., the first lifeboat was lowered into the icy waters. The evacuation proceeded slowly, reflecting the challenges faced in the unfolding crisis. Panic among passengers and crew intensified as the ship's angle increased by 1:15 a.m. Merely 15 minutes later, the first funnel collapsed, signaling the increasing peril of the sinking ship. The lights went out at 2:05 a.m. as the Titanic plunged into darkness, and by 2:17 a.m., the ship broke into two pieces. The stern section sank vertically into the ocean, marking the final moments of the Titanic. In James Cameron's film Titanic, the sinking events are mostly factual, but a bit dramatized. While the characters Jack and Rose are entirely fictional, the movie generally follows the historical timeline of the sinking. The film captures the chaos, fear, and heroism of the actual events, offering a cinematic interpretation of the tragic night with the inclusion of the fictional narrative. Coming back to the real-life tragedy, a nearby vessel, the RMS Carpathia responded to the distress calls from the sinking Titanic. Under the command of Captain Arthur Rostron, the Carpathia altered its course to reach the Titanic's location swiftly. Despite facing treacherous ice-filled waters, the Carpathia arrived at the scene around 4 a.m., approximately 2 hours after the Titanic had sunk. This delayed response was primarily due to the Titanic's initial assessment that they could manage the situation without immediate external assistance, coupled with challenges in accurately determining the severity of the disaster. The Carpathia's intervention did save over 700 survivors, but most of the souls on board the Titanic succumbed to the death-cold waters of the Atlantic. Today, they rest at the bottom of the ocean, in eternal slumber. Immediately following the tragedy, the British and American authorities launched separate inquiries to unravel the circumstances surrounding the sinking. The British Wreck Commissioner's inquiry, led by Lord Mersey, took place from May to July 1912. Simultaneously, the United States Senate convened its inquiry, probing into the disaster and interviewing survivors. These investigations delved into various aspects, examining the ship's construction, the decisions made on that fateful night, and the adequacy of safety measures. The testimonies of survivors, crew members, and experts were scrutinized to piece together the sequence of events. The inquiries not only sought accountability for the disaster, but also aimed at identifying systemic flaws. The focus extended beyond immediate causes, delving into broader maritime safety concerns. The findings prompted substantial changes in maritime regulations and safety protocols. Recommendations arising from the inquiries influenced international maritime conventions, shaping a more rigorous framework for vessel safety. The International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, or SOLAS, was agreed upon in 1914. This treaty, directly influenced by the lessons learned from the Titanic disaster, established global standards for ship construction, equipment, and operational procedures to enhance maritime safety. The sinking of the RMS Titanic was a complex event influenced by a combination of factors. The Titanic did not carry enough lifeboats for all passengers and crew, a serious regulatory flaw of the time. This deficiency significantly impacted the evacuation and rescue efforts. The ship's design and construction had flaws, such as the compartmentalization of the hull, which did not prevent water from flowing into adjacent compartments after the iceberg collision. Also, the belief that the Titanic was unsinkable might have led to complacency in responding to potential dangers. The crew also made some crucial mistakes with severe consequences. The ship's high speed in iceberg-infested waters, especially at night, increased the likelihood of a collision. Despite the known presence of icebergs in the area, the number of lookouts was also insufficient, and the lack of binoculars for one of them hindered early detection of the iceberg. Delays and misunderstandings in relaying iceberg warnings to the bridge also contributed to the lack of timely action. While the crew's decisions and actions were crucial, blaming poor seamanship alone for the disaster overlooks systemic issues, regulatory shortcomings, and the broader context that contributed to the tragedy. As for where the Titanic is now, the journey to find the ship began decades after its tragic sinking in 1912. Early efforts to locate the Titanic focused on using sonar and submersibles. These attempts were hindered by the vastness of the ocean floor and the limitations of the available equipment. The turning point came in 1985, when Dr. Robert Ballard, a marine geologist and oceanographer, led a joint French-American expedition to find the Titanic. Ballard and his team used the deep-sea submersible Alvin and a remotely operated vehicle, or ROV, called Jason Jr. Ballard divided the ocean floor into manageable grids and used sonar to scan the ocean floor, creating detailed maps. Once potential targets were identified, the ROV was deployed for visual confirmation. On September 1, 1985, the Titanic wreckage was discovered nearly 12,500 feet below the surface of the North Atlantic. The first images revealed the debris field and parts of the ship, including the famous Grand Staircase. This discovery was a historic moment in underwater exploration. No wonder it's so long. The extreme pressure at such depths required specialized equipment capable of withstanding the harsh conditions. The development of submersibles and ROVs designed for deep-sea exploration played a crucial role. Over the years, subsequent expeditions further explored the Titanic site, employing advanced technology to create detailed maps and 3D models of the wreckage. High-resolution cameras and sonar systems allowed for a comprehensive understanding of the ship's condition. ROVs were also employed for collecting samples and documenting the state of the ship. The discovery of the Titanic wreckage not only solved the mystery of its long-lost location, but also opened new frontiers in deep-sea exploration. Now, decades later, humankind stands at a place and time in history where we can revisit the essence of what the Titanic was supposed to be, rather than what it turned out to be. Australian billionaire Clive Palmer officially unveiled the Titanic II project on April 30, 2012, a century after the sinking of the original ship. His company partnered with the Chinese shipyard CSC Jinling and enlisted the Finnish naval architecture firm Delta Marin to design the ship. Titanic expert Steve Hall and interiors expert Daniel Clistorner joined as design consultant and historian, and interior design consultant and historian, respectively. An advisory board, including Terry Ismay, the great-great-nephew of Bruce Ismay, who was the chairman of the White Star Line and a survivor of the Titanic disaster, and Helen Benziger, the great-granddaughter of Titanic survivor Margaret Molly Brown, was formed to ensure homage to the original Titanic. The Titanic II is set to have a gross tonnage of 56,000, which is approximately 10,000 GT more than the original. While efforts have been made to closely mimic the external and internal appearance of the original ship, several modifications have been incorporated for safety and economic reasons. These changes include a greater beam for enhanced stability, a welded hull instead of riveted, a reduced draft, and a bulbous bow for increased fuel efficiency. The new ship also features stabilizers to reduce roll, a diesel-electric propulsion system, and an additional safety deck for lifeboats. However, aesthetically, the interior replicates the original in all practical ways. There are some exceptions, though. For instance, due to modern fire regulations, veneers would be used instead of the original wooden paneling. The design also eliminates the shear or camber for economic reasons, but an upward rake on the sea deck gives a similar appearance. The power plant replaces the steam engines and coal-fired boilers with a modern diesel-electric system, and the overall height above the waterline has been increased with the safety deck. Tilburg Design is tasked with reproducing Titanic's original interiors, with considerations for modernizing third-class cabins and incorporating en-suite bathrooms throughout the ship. The Titanic II emerges as a pinnacle of technological prowess, seamlessly integrating cutting-edge advancements to redefine the maritime experience. The vessel incorporates state-of-the-art navigation systems, propulsion technology, and communication infrastructure. Smart technologies permeate every aspect of the ship, enhancing efficiency, navigation accuracy, and overall operational excellence. Advanced safety protocols, surveillance systems, and emergency response mechanisms are woven into the ship's fabric, ensuring security for all on board. Smart amenities and connectivity options also elevate the overall experience of the journey, offering passengers a seamless blend of comfort, luxury, and contemporary convenience. The ship will navigate the open seas with precision, thanks to state-of-the-art GPS systems, radar technology, and satellite communication. Titanic II also incorporates cutting-edge navigation tools to ensure optimal route planning and real-time monitoring. The advanced navigation systems also play a pivotal role in avoiding potential hazards. Real-time weather monitoring, collision avoidance mechanisms, and advanced chart plotting will collectively contribute to a secure and smooth sailing experience. The ship also comes equipped with ample lifeboats and life vests. The announcement and progress of the Titanic II project have captivated the attention of international media outlets. Renowned publications, television networks, and online platforms have extensively covered the revival of this iconic maritime venture. This global media coverage reflects the project's significance and the enduring fascination that the Titanic legacy holds worldwide. The public reception of Titanic II has been nothing short of extraordinary. From enthusiasts and historians to the general public, the announcement has sparked widespread interest and discussion. The reactions range from excitement about reliving history to discussions on the technological advancements incorporated into the vessel. The project also set social media abuzz with viral trends and hashtags when it was first announced. Although the enthusiasm seems to have faded for now, it will be rekindled for sure when the ship takes to the sea. Enthusiasts and curious onlookers alike have taken to Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook to share their excitement. While discussions, speculations, and shared content related to Titanic II are fostering a sense of community among those passionate about maritime history, the news has not captivated everyone. Controversies are an inevitable part of any ambitious project, especially one tied to such a historic legacy, and the man behind it all is no stranger to controversy either. Many have called Clive Palmer an eccentric billionaire with wild ambitions. The man is known for his unconventional ventures and publicity stunts. Notably, he attempted to establish a massive Jurassic Park-style dinosaur theme park at his golf resort. The announcement of the Titanic II project coincided with his entry into Australian federal politics, sparking attention and raising eyebrows. Palmer has also, in the past, made claims of being the target of a conspiracy involving Barack Obama, the CIA, the Rockefeller Foundation, and Greenpeace. These groups had allegedly joined hands in attempting to shut down his mining operation. In 2010, he founded Zeppelin International to create a commercially viable Zeppelin, but faced ridicule after the project failed to materialize. Palmer's reputation in Australia involves initiating ambitious yet unrealized business ideas, and some look at the Titanic II project the same way. But there's more to it. Critics also argue that the concept of a commercialized replica of the Titanic is insensitive and a mockery of the memory of those who died. Charles Haas, president of the Titanic International Society, questioned the appropriateness and commercial viability of the project, emphasizing the lack of modern amenities compared to contemporary cruise ships. The British shipping company Cunard Line, which inherited the White Star Line legacy, also expressed discomfort with the idea, considering it inappropriate. Moreover, the alleged use of funds from Queensland Nickel, a separate venture of Palmer's for the Titanic II project, drew criticism from administrators appointed after the company's closure. In their April 2016 report, they deemed payments from Queensland Nickel to Blue Star Line as uncommercial and director-related transactions. Palmer, however, has refuted the claims made in the report, including those related to the Titanic II project. In response to concerns raised by experts, stakeholders, and the public, the project does have one ace up its sleeve. It is a fairly publicized project with a dedicated fan base. However, regular updates, open forums, and engagement with critics are integral to addressing concerns head-on. Moreover, in a world increasingly conscious of environmental impact, the Titanic II project will have to adopt sustainable practices for construction. This includes everything from the selection of eco-friendly materials to the implementation of energy-efficient processes. The incorporation of green building techniques will minimize the ecological footprint associated with such a monumental endeavor. Titanic 2 will also have to mitigate its environmental impact during operation. Efforts to reduce carbon emissions, optimize fuel efficiency, and explore alternative energy sources are integral for continued operation and gaining wider support. So far, the project seems to be headed in the right direction in this regard. The anticipation and enthusiasm for Titanic 2 reflect a deep connection to the historical significance of the original RMS Titanic. There is no shortage of people who wish to replicate the feel and experience of the original ship, minus the dangers of navigating dangerous waters. However, the notion that the name Titanic is cursed or insensitive, depending on who you ask, adds an intriguing perspective. The constraints of time and finances will also affect most of the fans out there, making it impossible for them to participate in such a voyage. However, the accessibility of such historical experiences may evolve. Presently perceived as a luxury for those with the means, advancements in the travel industry could make such journeys more inclusive in the future. Titanic 2 not only pays homage to history, but also allows the public to immerse themselves in the bygone era. The legacy of the Titanic, even a century later, continues to hold strong. It has transcended generations, intertwining personal stories with a global historical event. While the current experience might seem exclusive, the project's role in preserving our collective history can foster a sense of shared connection and anticipation for what lies ahead. Titanic 2 is poised to leave a lasting mark on the maritime industry, potentially influencing the design and architecture of future cruise ships. By blending historical elements with modern technology, the project will combine luxury and safety optimally. Plus, other shipbuilders may look to Titanic 2's innovations in both aesthetics and functionality when conceptualizing new vessels. Beyond the realm of ship design, Titanic 2 will also shape the future of maritime tourism. The project's commitment to providing a unique and immersive experience reflects a broader trend in the industry. The ship may set sail this year, if all goes right, and is likely to inspire new approaches to cruise ship tourism, emphasizing historical narratives, technological advancements, and passenger comfort to redefine the standards for maritime travel. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Don't miss this video you see on your screen right now. It's truly unbelievable.